5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's weekly media roundup, 5:45 Live. I'm Kia Bailey.
And I'm Roland Boyden. Tonight, town meeting day and election night, including Vernon's dramatic select board overhaul, Brattleboro's marathon select board meeting, a 1% option tax rejection, and much more.
All that and more in just 15 minutes, so stick with us.
Welcome back to this March 6th, 2015 edition of 5:45 Live. It's going to be a town meeting, election day heavy edition here, as we'll look at each of the 7 towns that BCTV sent a camera operator to this past Tuesday. And there's plenty of drama in Brattleboro as well, and that's where we'll start with a stack of uncontested races that may not have had us watching the polls too closely here in Brattleboro, but a series of proposed charter changes and the ever-controversial option tax, which made for plenty of polling drama nonetheless.
Despite a mere 15% turnout for the Brattleboro election, the voters who did show up decided fairly collectively against the 3 amendments proposed by Brattleboro Common Sense, a citizen group. Additionally, voters rejected the 1% sales tax in a non-binding referendum vote. The tax, which could generate up to $600,000 annually, will be reconsidered by town meeting members on March 21st at the representative town meeting. The rejected amendments mean that 16-year-olds will not be allowed to vote in townwide elections as proposed. There will be no 6-year term limit for town meeting members, and no townwide referendum will occur for expenditures exceeding $2 million. The proposed changes would have also included moving town elections to the first Tuesday in November, a required 2-hour paid leave for voting, a reinstated grand juror position, and an altered process for petitions. Town meeting representative candidates from write-ins will be announced soon.
For more, we're going to take you back to election night when we were in the select board meeting room to get the results hot up of the presses from town clerk Annette Cappy.
Article 5, which had to do with the 1% sales tax, that also did not pass. 361 yes and 672 no.
All right, we're going to launch into all those town meetings in a moment to get you caught up on everything that happened there, trying to condense the hours and hours of footage from each of those 7 meetings into the precious little time we have here on 5:45 Live. But first, as town meetings wrapped up on Tuesday and voting continued on the second floor of this 230 Main Street Municipal Center, the select board in Brattleboro was forced to gather in BCTV's third-floor studios for a 4-hour marathon meeting.
On Tuesday, the Select Board unanimously voted to approve an engineering study for building a skate park at Living Memorial Park, and at the same time approved a proposed 8,000 square foot dog park next to the skate park. While the 2 projects will be independently funded and built, both sites will benefit by having a neighbor. The remoteness of the location had some people worried about building a skate park in the upper field at Living Memorial, but with a dog park as well, there's likely to be an adult nearby. After many long years, the skate park committee seems to have a location that everyone can agree upon.
And I also think there's a lot of support and interest for a dog park here in Brattleboro. We worked with the Windham Humane Society to announce the meeting for tonight, and we got a ton of really positive conversation going. We got shares, we got likes. So I think overall there's certainly interest and demand for something like this in Brattleboro.
And if you want to watch that full 4-hour and 7-minute Brattleboro Select Board meeting from election night, it's available to stream at BrattleboroTV.org, and it'll show all this coming week. 2 clicks up the dial on our government and education sister channel, Channel 10. All right, we're going to head into the town meeting coverage now as promised, but first I'll just make a quick note that at that same BrattleboroTV.org website, you can find each and every one of these meetings to stream at your leisure in their entirety, and because it's interactive streaming, you can click ahead, so you don't have to necessarily watch each and every one of these meetings front to back. You can also find them playing out on BCTV Channel 10 as well. All right, we're going to start our town meeting coverage with a look at the 2-night meeting BCTV videographer Ian Keel described as nights of blood and tears. Now to Vernon we go.
A very busy 2-day town meeting in Vernon resulted in many decisions and changes. The $2.1 million fiscal budget was approved to include $50,000 for a new full-time town administrator position, 24/7 police coverage from the Sheriff's Department, and a bit over $60,000 to move the preschool to the Vernon Elementary School. Voters eliminated the town auditor's positions and voted against the proposal to cut the number of select board members from 5 to 3. Who those select board members are, however, has changed. Patty O'Donnell, who has served as the Select Board Chairwoman for 3 years, has decided to give up her position to focus on her work with the Planning and Economic Development Commission and the Tax Commission. Christine Howe, a 6-year member of the Select Board, will now serve as Chairwoman. New Select Board members include Mike Cordemonch and Emily Vergobi. Some debate has spurred as to whether or not the meeting was actually legal, as the warning was posted late. To make up for the delay, an additional validation meeting to review and approve the actions taken at the town meeting will need to take place.
And while debate in Vernon about whether or not to drop Select Board seats raged, residents in Guilford were busy approving the addition of 2 new Select Board seats, moving from the state minimum of 3 seats up to 5 as the town preps for another year of tough decisions.
After this initial election, they would all be 2-year terms, but those 2 would be staggered, and the 3 years would continue to be staggered as they are.
The one key thing with being a 3-person select board with open meeting law now, no 2 members up there can discuss anything going on in town and one-on-one. When we have 5, discussion can be had outside of meetings. And I feel that's very important for further development and understanding of things going on, and to be able to go and make decisions instead of having to have all your discussions at the table.
Next up in our town meeting coverage, on to Newfane we go.
Gloria Cristelli defeated Sina Friend in the Newfane election 286 votes to 152 for the position of town clerk. Deborah Luskin was voted to be town moderator, and Maureen Albert Piasek was appointed as town treasurer, as well as collector of delinquent taxes and Newfane School District treasurer. Carol Hatcher, Marianne Dowling, and Rosalind Fritz were elected as members of the Select Board.
The people who really provide the services for you as the property owner are your title searchers and your lawyers, and they are quite often there, either 8:30, somewhere in there, and up until 6 o'clock.
I just want to say welcome the 3 ladies to the board. I think we can do a very good job. I look forward to working with all of you. I think we can have a pretty good board and welcome you all here. So thank you.
Now, as for town meeting-wide themes across the 7 towns, pay-as-you-throw got top honors in each community, with state legislation passed last session forcing towns to adopt some form of dual purchase system, with many towns opting to sell a weekly trash bag to residents in $2 and $3 size options, something Select Board member Judy Flowers took the time to demonstrate firsthand before a full house at Jamaica's town meeting this year.
This size bag, the smaller one, is going to cost $2. And then we will also have the larger bag, which is 33 gallon. So that's kind of what they're going to look like. So we will have, of course, Jamaica.
All right, well, that's enough town meeting stuff for now. But again, if you can find them all at BrattleboroTV.org if you want to watch through more of that full coverage. Thanks again to all the BCTV producers who went out and filmed those meetings on Tuesday. Busy day for us. Time to move on, and now we're going to check in with Brattleboro's weekly independent newspaper, The Commons, for our Commons News Report and focus on another top headline from this week with an article entitled Bellows Falls Man Fatally Stabbed at Westminster Home. Westminster man enters not guilty plea to manslaughter charge. With details in the article of a 38-year-old Westminster man entered a not guilty plea to a charge of manslaughter after a fatal stabbing at a Westminster home early Sunday morning. Now, Vermont State Police said Michael Johnson, age 37 of Bellows Falls, was stabbed in the chest at the home of Christina Alcock in the Shady Pine Mobile Home Park shortly before 1:30 a.m. on Sunday. He was pronounced dead at the scene by Rescue Inc. personnel. Now, there's a lot more details, and we'll keep you abreast of this story as we see how it unfolds. You can find all the details in that article again at commonsnews.org. All right, time to move on in the headlines here. Away from town meeting we go and back into our regular headlines.
The NRC commissioners voted 4-0 in favor of eliminating Vermont Yankees' 10-mile Emergency Preparedness Zone, or EPZ, in spring of 2016. A plan written in 2000 suggests a 4-tiered approach that keeps all safety measures in place for a minimum of 6 years. But NRC Chairman Stephen Burns says that a lot has happened since 2000, and a reevaluation of current situations should be done before a decision is made. If all goes according to their plan, in April of next year, Vermont Yankee will be disconnected from the emergency sirens, will no longer pay for iodine tablets, won't send out emergency messages over the radio, or give yearly calendars to people within the EPC.
All right, we're gonna wrap up with some calendar coverage and weather, but first it's the 175th birthday of William H. Rockwell Jr. He was the eldest son of the Brattleboro Retreat's very first superintendent, and he was born in what was then known as the Asylum on March 3rd of 1840, thanks to BCTV producer James Banslaven, who tracked down this story for us. Again, the 175th birthday for William H. Rockwell Jr. All right, time to move on, and for that we're gonna check in with our BCTV video calendar as we do each week. This is all sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, as their generous donations to BCTV each year help fund our weekly look at calendar events. And we're gonna launch right in here with our calendar coverage, looking at this very weekend now.
We'll start our calendar coverage for this weekend with the 24th Annual Women's Film Festival, which kicks off tonight with a fun gala and a showing of fabulous fashionistas at the New England Youth Theater, NEYT. Tomorrow, many different movies will be shown at NEYT throughout the afternoon and evening, including Half the Road, A Good Match, Lucky, and Do I Have To? The event will run for 3 weekends, with screenings of 47 different movies and short films by and about women. The films will be shown at NEYT as well as at the Latches Theater. A full schedule of when and where each movie is being played can be found at womensfreedomcenter.net under the News and Events tab.
And all these proceeds do go to benefit the Women's Freedom Center. And if you're interested in checking out some movies on Saturday afternoon, I'll be working the concession stand, so I can hook you up with some popcorn and snacks. You can check out some great movies and help fund a good cause.
Well, that does it for another edition of 545 Live. Thanks for checking in with us, and we'll see you next week right here on BCTV Comcast Channel 8. In the meantime, thanks for watching.